Hey, what's up, guys? This is Team Hard Life Captain Alberto, and yes, we have spooled up the reel. Guess what time it is? Yeah, buddy, kind of excited, and I'm having to overlap the voice because when we pulled up to the beach, there was so much music in the background playing. Yeah, I'm having to do it this way, but it's cool because now I get to like really break down exactly what I was seeing and what I ran into, and there's going to be a lot of knowledge on this video. Those certain things that happened that, you know, we really had to take notice and take note on, and it's going to be something that, starting from the ground up, what we're doing, you know, yes, we're not new to casting, but yes, this is a totally different way of casting and using certain types of forms, techniques. There's so much that you got to pay attention to because so many things could go wrong in an instant, and you know, people can hurt. You can hurt yourself, or you can lose gear, damage gear. There's just so much there, and I'm gonna try and do my best to point it all out for you.
Okay, I don't know if you can watch
on this video because, like I said, we're gonna start from the ground up. I've already moved, you know, a few steps ahead because I've already done a few casts, but now I am literally gonna put as much knowledge as I can before you, and in hopes that you will remember all of this, because it's gonna be a, you know, I'm gonna, you know, every time I go out, I'm gonna reiterate, hey, don't forget this, remember to do this and do this and do this, because you know what, I'm having to tell myself all of these things that I have to do because you gotta learn the hard way.
Gotta bite. I think I got a lot of stress on my mind. It's a nice day to go. Yeah, I gotta learn. I'ma call the whole team.
Alright, so right here I'm casting a 5-ounce weight. My backing is 40-pound braid, Cortland Hollow Core. My tip is 80 pounds. So what I wanted to do was just do a simple cast, get the weight out there, get some line paid out. And with casting braid, what you always want to do is remember to wet the line. So what I'm doing is I'm casting it out to get a little bit deeper before I actually put into it. And there you can see it's over a 100-yard cast easily on that simple cast out and stuff like that. So yeah, now I'm gonna go and reel it in and get it set up to where I can actually put some power behind this cast and see if the braid can take it. That's gonna be the biggest thing. We have a lot of our subscribers on here telling us, yes, it'll work just fine, it'll do this, it'll do that, but I want to see it. I'm sorry, I'm one of them guys that I gotta see it for myself and know that it can be done on where we're fishing, how we're fishing, and also too all the other things that I'm looking at. Now, one of the things you got to remember that when you're doing this types of casts with the mags, you start out at a certain mag setting, and then when you start your cast, you end up backing it off and stuff like that to get a further cast on it. Now, one of the things you got to remember is to remag it, to add it back on for your cast, because otherwise you're gonna backlash. And check this out. Alright guys, so right here I have cast it out and somehow it broke off. There was no burnout, no anything. It just caught one of the guides and literally broke off. So I don't know, but yeah, I can show you. Look, it's wrapped around that one guide there. You can see it. And yeah, it didn't, like I said, no backlash, no nothing. gonna definitely have to talk to some high-speed guys, because that may be something else that we may have to take in consideration. Depending on the style of guides, we may have to get the type that allows braid to come around the guide without getting caught up on it, because it probably got caught up in that guide right there going so fast, and that's what caused the break off. So what I'm going to go ahead and do, since I got the end, I'm just going to do a simple knot. And should I recast? Yes. Yeah, yes is always the answer. Let's try it. Let's give it a shot, get it tied up together, because one of the things the guys was talking about was how many knots they have on their regular line and what we can do to make it keep going. Instead of having to down the reel for that trip, will it still work with that knot? So I'm going to do a simple knot, nothing extravagant, get it on there, and will it cast? Another test. I love this. So many tests all in one day, back to back to back. That is Nico up on the top of that sand dune, way off kind of in the middle of the screen to the left side. Yeah, that's about where it landed. So, yeah, he's got to pull it out of the sand so that way I can make sure I get it all back. Because that's the other thing too. Since we are literally running it through dry sand, I did not want to take a chance of building up heat and, you know, cutting my own self off at that point, and or building up more abrasion off the tippet of the line, because we are casting it on dry sand. And yes, I am wetting the line on cast, but this braid has also got a chemical on it that keeps it from absorbing water, and that's what keeps mildew from growing on the product, and that's why it's used for more than just fishing. And there's so many other uses for it. We're gonna check it out, and we're gonna keep casting it. So let's check this out. Yeah, that's why I didn't think it was so hard for me earlier. I'll do one last guy. Yeah. And then I went the line. Alright guys, so one of the other things that I did notice too is that when I set up the camera, I need to be further on the back side instead of on the front side of my cast, so that way we can see what the weight and the rod is doing on the back end, because that's where the cast comes from, besides of what I'm doing, my hand and foot location. And this is a good cast, but I know I can definitely get further. I haven't really put it into it because, like I said, I'm trying to get further into the spool to wet the line. So we'll see how it goes. Continues on with this test, and will I be able to spool this reel? I'm kind of already feeling that this reel is going to be small for what I'm trying to do with having enough line left on the reel, because 50 yards is cool and everything for bull reds and small fish and stuff like that, but not if I'm going to be targeting like 5 or 6 foot sharks with it. So I want to definitely keep testing and ensure that I'm getting this, because obviously The other second half of this token is that when I go to these competitions, because we're looking at starting up something all new. Now let's check this cast, see if it works out for me. Oops, I hit the sand. Stop, reset. You don't ever want to force it through a cast because it's just going to really mess you up. Alright, one of the cool things about learning how to cast on the beach is it forces you to cast properly. As you notice, I swing the weight back as far away from me as possible. I don't want it sitting, you know, perpendicular to my rod and create a right angle. I want it as straight in line with my rod and the line before I start my cast. Now obviously with this one, I'm sending the weight behind me before I bring it down, and I drop the rod tip just a little bit to create more angle and force. And as you can see, this rod is completely loaded up and it's gone. That was a good cast. Oh yeah. All right guys, so there you go. That's at least a 200 plus yard cast. Shows you that it can work with the braid. And granted, I'm having to wet the line because I am not fishing with it. I'm casting on dry land and it is hot out there. And yes, I wanted to make sure that I got y'all a good view of the spool on it and stuff like that. So yes, I'm really excited. I'm gonna have my son walk out there so we can see where it landed. It is way out there, but having that 30 yards or 40 yards of line left on the reel, I really don't think it's that much. So I'm gonna mark it down and let's go ahead and see how far I really cast it. This is really interesting. Yeah, so it's hot out here and I'm looking at the other side, looking at all the water, wishing I was on that side, but it would not be able to give me what I was looking for because there's so many cars side by side. And that's one of the things you got to really be careful when you're doing these powerful casts, that when you are casting, that you are aware of your surroundings, because this line can really break off. That weight can go flying and really hurt somebody or damage your property or something like that. So just be aware of your surroundings. Take care of your line. You got to really take care of your line. It ain't like just breaking off on the pier. You just lose your weight and leader. This can fly somewhere and really do some damage. And so for me, as you can see, the guys on the right are doing that parasailing or whatever, and I really got to watch out. But yeah, my son's almost all the way to the dunes on the other side of this long bowl, and yep, that's about 200 yards, if not a little bit more, easy. So yeah, that is insane. So it is telling me a few things. I'm gonna have to definitely move up into a bigger reel in order to keep this test going, and also see if I can get bigger reels to do these power casts, to be able to fish with them the way I want to. I mean, if I don't have a kayak or I don't feel like battling the surf and stuff like that, this should be able to give me the ability to put baits out further without getting wet. So I'm really excited where this is going. The possibilities are already starting to unfold right in front of you. Like I said, you know, this is this reel is so I don't like it, but it gave me a starting point to open my eyes and say, okay, yes, this is very feasible, and I'm going to continue on with my testing. So stay tuned, guys, as we continue to put this to the deep. But at the same time, there's still another lesson in this video I'm gonna show you, and it's gonna be right toward the end. So stay tuned, guys, there's another one coming. Last one, brother.
It's fun, but tiring.
Alright guys, so what has happened in here is when I dropped back, I got my weight going back behind me and I dropped way too low on the back side, and what it means is that when I went to go move forward, that I did not follow my weight further back behind me, and I waited just too late for it, so it dropped down further than I needed it to drop down before I started my cast. So I ended up impacting the ground, but at the same time something else happened. I forgot to increase my mag back into starting position. This is going to be one of the hardest things to remember if you're not used to it. And for me, I'm definitely not used to it, but even after talking to a lot of the guys that are in the circuit, it happens. You know, you forget to remag your reel, and it's not an automatic thing like with the magnetic control on an Avid. You set it, you know, at the start of your day, and you can fish with it all day long. You don't have to reset it. But since I did not reset it, after I impacted the ground, but it blew up on instant because I letting go of the thumb on cast with the mag not set properly means it was completely loose, or looser than what I needed to be to get the start and run. And there's certain verbiage for this, and the guys that are in the casting community for distance are talking to me about it, and as soon as I get the hang of understanding what they mean and stuff like that, I mean, they've explained it to me, but it's a little harder for me to turn around and explain because I haven't fully understood it myself. But basically what it means is, you know, for the amount of spool that's flying off the reel during cast determines how much mag setting you need to be at to start. Now, different levels, different settings, and all of that play a part, but we will learn and share it with you.